Good morning, guys. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James, and this is your morning update. Guys, it's Monday morning. It's a bit of a better Monday morning. I don't know, it's just a nicer feeling coming out of a weekend, knowing we've obviously got a victory over, yes, it was a very poor Hibs side. And yes, they do sit third in the league. I don't know quite how they do sit third in the league. They've only won one of their opening four, and I tell you something, they do lack a cutting edge up top. And again, I suppose it could have been different had they had a cutting edge. But look, it's a victory. We've got to take the positives from that. We've got to kind of say that we at least had a win at the weekend, a first win in our domestic competitions. Obviously, going through 5 games this so far with 0 domestic victories. I suppose the bad thing is the league looks as it does. We know we are down in 11th place. We are second from bottom. If the season finished today, we'll be in that playoff for relegation, wouldn't we? That does not make pretty reading that league table, and that is something we'll have to put right next Sunday against Livingston. Livingston, of course, sit 8th in the table. It's a big week for Rangers this week. Obviously, get the Europa League campaign underway. I'd rather it was last week and we were getting the Champions League campaign underway, but hey, we were never ready for that. Not with Russell Martin as manager, and not with the state the squad is currently in terms of the way it is currently playing. But Genk at home on Thursday, and a lot of people talking about Genk and Club Brugge in the same breath at the moment. I'll tell you something, don't do that. Don't do that to yourselves, guys. Genk are not a good team. They are not a good side. They sit in the relegation zone of the Belgian Super League at the moment and are really struggling. There is even people talking about parallels between Rangers and Genk at this moment in time with their players. A number of their senior players coming out and talking about their need to play together a bit more, to have more unity, to have the right mental attitude and the right fortitude to go forward. And Genk are struggling, guys. We will look ahead a bit more and feature Genk a little bit more ahead of Thursday's game, but I think it's worth mentioning that, we shouldn't go into this game, with the fear that we would have if we were playing, say, a Club Brugge, for example, or a Porto or a Roma at this stage. But Genk certainly are not the same as Bruges, guys, if anyone gets that wrong impression about the club. Now, we're going to start off by talking a little bit of transfer news. Now, I know this is really weird because the transfer window's closed, you say. The window's closed. How can we talk transfer news when the window is shut? That's the question. Well, there's still talk ahead of January. Yes, that's right. January will be here before we know it. And then we'll be all full of speculation again about who we're going to bring in, who's going to go out, how we're going to develop the squad further. I suppose a lot depends on who the manager is, where we are in the table and what we're contending for and where we are in terms of the side itself. So, look, this is where we're up to at this moment in time. Now, according to reports in the media this morning, one player who could well be on the move is someone that Rangers looked at in the summer, and that's a goalkeeper. Now, I think, this was obviously after last season where Jack Butland was a little bit of a disaster, wasn't he? He was not great, at all last season. But I think it's fair to say Jack has been absolutely superb this season and been one of our players of the season so far. And again, he was very good on Saturday against Hibs, wasn't he? He did very, very well indeed. He was solid as a rock. 7 out of 10 I gave him. I think it was in the player ratings. Did a very, very good job. Now, the player that we've been linked with is this young man here. Apparently, we made an approach for him in the summer. He's a goalkeeper by the name of Pierce Charles. This was reported down here in England by The Independent. He is a Sheffield Wednesday player, and we know that Sheffield Wednesday are not in a very happy place at this moment in time. They are a team that, hey, let's face it, are going through some difficult times with obviously the fans really suffering down there, wanting to get their owner Dejan Chansiri out, given the fact that he is absolutely running the club into the ground. Pierce Charles, just a bit of information about him. He's 20 years old. He is 6'1". He's a keeper. Obviously, he's from Manchester in England. He came through the youth system at Manchester City before going on to play for Sheffield Wednesday. He's also a Northern Ireland international, playing for Northern Ireland at every underage group, under 17s, under 19s, and under 21s, and has made 8 international appearances for the club. In total, he's made 18 appearances for Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. All those appearances in the 18, actually not all in the Championship, 10 in the Championship, 3 in the National Cup and 5 in the League Cup. He's made 2 appearances this season in the league already for the Owls. Very highly rated young goalkeeper, very highly thought of young goalkeeper. His brother is also a footballer, Shay Charles, another very good footballer as well. Like I said, he came through the youth system at Manchester City. Obviously found his chances very much sidelined at Manchester City. Manchester City obviously at that point had Edison. They've now obviously got Gianluigi Donnarumma. They've got James Trafford. They've got some very good goalkeepers at Manchester City. So look, at the end of the day, he was never ever going to get a lot of play time at Manchester City. Sorry. He's a highly rated young goalkeeper, for both club and country. He has excellent footwork and good distribution. He's very much one of these keepers in the modern mould who can distribute the ball well from the back, a much better ball player. And I suppose one kind of thing you would level at Butland to some degree is Butland, obviously, shot stopping wise, corner, coming for crosses, very, very good indeed this season. The one thing you kind of suppose could still level at Jack is his distribution with his feet is still not the best. He's only 20 years old, of course. I think this would be very much a kind of come in, back up Butland, play in the cup competitions, perhaps play the odd league game after a European game, to give him development and to bring him through and perhaps learn from Jack. He's interested, apparently a number of Premier League clubs have taken a look at him, Liverpool, Villa and West Ham. But obviously, those clubs, with perhaps the exception of West Ham, who Areola's not the best, but obviously Liverpool have Alisson Becker, the best goalkeeper in the world. Aston Villa have Emi Martinez, who's a very good goalkeeper as well. He is a decent keeper. He's got a lot of the modern goalkeeping skills. Good strong footwork, confident distribution. He's a very confident shot stopper as well. Very good with his feet. He has international experience. He's a decent player, and I think would be considered as someone who is going to have a very, very big future in the game, and sort of player I suppose Rangers would be looking at adding in as part of that transfer trading model. Now Rangers apparently had a £4 million approach for him rebuffed in the summer, but it's thought that given the financial situation currently at Sheffield, that they would be willing to do business at around 4 million now, because of the fact obviously that Chansiri is looking to take as much money out of the club as possible, which is, look, I think what he's doing at that historic, Sheffield Wednesday is a historic big club in England, not big club, but it's a historic club in England, and what he's doing there is absolutely disgusting, it really is. But you've got to say, overall, he would be a good goalkeeper. And I think, Liam Kelly's days appear to be numbered. He didn't even get the start in the League Cup at the weekend. I don't really rate Kelly as a goalkeeper. I think he's a bit Dracula on crosses. His shot stopping's not bad, not brilliant, not as good as Butland's. His distribution is better than Butland's. It's the one thing he does do better, but he's not a great goalkeeper. He's a goalkeeper who, if he went to Falkirk or Livy or Motherwell, went back to Motherwell maybe, or Dundee, would do a decent job for them. But he's not a Rangers goalkeeper. He's certainly not in that class. So, someone like Piers Charles coming in as a backup to Jack Butland and then obviously coming through. Now, you would have to question if Rangers signed Piers Charles, who's 20 years old. What does that mean for the future of Mason Munn? Also, young Northern Line international. Obviously, Mason has a big future as well ahead of him. Looks a very, very good keeper. So, look, I think it's 50-50 on whether we would go back in from in January, but it's interesting that Sheffield are looking to move him on. Right, the draw obviously took place yesterday for the semi-finals of the Premier Sports Cup, and yes, guys, no surprise. Look, no surprise to me. Look, go back. Look, you can say, oh yeah, you would say that now, wouldn't you, Erin? But go back, watch the podcast, the live stream yesterday on Saturday of the game, and you look at when people were talking about the semi-final. What I said Rangers will play Celtic in the semi-final. It will be an Old Firm semi-final because the SFA won't want an Old Firm Cup final. And guess what? I was right. And it's Motherwell, St Mirren and the other. So obviously, look, two teams that have done really well this season. Full credit to both Motherwell and St Mirren for the way they've gone about this season. And obviously, Stuart Robinson, who's a really good manager, a guy who I really rate, St Mirren coach, I certainly kind of hope that St Mirren don't make it through. A team we've always had a lot of problems with in recent times. I really do hope that doesn't happen. But, Celtic versus Rangers, another Old Firm game. You can kind of say this is a bit fixed. It gets a bit more telly numbers, doesn't it? I don't know. Perhaps I'm being a bit conspiracy theorist here. But either the 1st or the 2nd of November, we will play against Celtic in the Hampden Park semi. And Brendan Rodgers has already apparently warned Rangers that Rangers will face a very different animal in Celtic to the one that they faced in the Old Firm game at Ibrox. Okay, Brenda, not a problem, buddy. We'll be ready. We'll be ready for you. Yeah, they won 4-0, but it was Partick Thistle, guys. Let's get a bit of perspective on this. And I'm sure you've got all the Celtic fans go, we're back this weekend. But no, you guys, you beat Partick Thistle 4-0. It's hardly an achievement, is it? I mean, come on. You didn't beat us. You didn't beat Hearts. You didn't beat, it's not like you kind of beat, a top-class German team or, even an English team. You beat Partick Thistle. Let's get a bit of perspective on this, shall we, boys? It's Partick Thistle. It's not fucking Real Madrid, is it now? Really isn't. Yes, they sit fourth in the Championship, but, look, They've already lost and drawn one in the Championship, guys. They're already 6 points behind St Johnstone, who are shit. So it's not like they're a top team, is it? So bit of perspective, boys. Bit of perspective on that one. But look, at the end of the day, this will be a different game again. Hopefully Rangers will continue the forward motion we saw at the weekend. And look, I'm not saying that all is forgiven. I'm not sitting here and being a hypocrite and saying Russell Martin is the man. He is the man. No, what I'm saying is it's a positive move forward. You've got to take the positive from it, that at least we won the game. You've got to hope that this is a change, that this is a sea change in what Rangers do this season. We start to see a unity of purpose. We start to see a progression. Now, there was some progress I felt on Saturday. Yes, it was not great. Yes, it was not perfect. That defensive frailties are still there. That long diag ball over the top still catches our defenders out every single time. But it's progress, and that's the key thing. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying all is forgiven. I'm not saying that for a minute. Now, we've got to obviously see a build on that on Thursday against Genk. And then, obviously, the game on Sunday, I think, is the most critical one, getting that first victory in the SPL. And look, you don't want to be sitting there at the bottom or next to bottom of the SPL at this stage of the season, or at any stage of the season. 9 points behind both Hearts and Celtic already after 5 games is not good at all. Right, guys, we'll be back at just after 11 with your live podcast this morning. Bring your news, bring your thoughts, bring your opinions. If you'd missed that because you're catching this video later today and you've already missed the pod as well, go back and check out the pod. Thanks for watching. Be back soon and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, guys. See you in a bit.